back to another one of my videos. I'd like to thank all the people that have subscribed to me. I've had a lot of subscribers recently and it's really appreciated. So hey, let's get on with this video. Okay, I've got a very nice, mostly pretty well all original Jet 200 Spanish one. It's a Civetta, so it's got the air filter here integral in the toolbox, which I wasn't too keen on that idea because it is quite a restrictive flow, and I think it's not even as good as the original, but they did that. Why, I do not know. It was an idea from Civetta. All it did was restrict your volume in your actual toolbox, and I can't see that it's gained anything, what it's done to help anything. So what we're going to do is, the running's a bit poor on this bike, so we're going to look at ignition timing and carburation and stuff like that, and try and get it running a little bit sweeter. And yeah, it's so original, it's still running on points as well. Well, it's got different fixings everywhere. Nothing's uniform. Oh, here we go. It's got Allen key here. It's got a coach bolt there. It's got a Phillips head there. Almost as bad as me for putting anything in there. Well, we'll get the floorboard off and we'll do the usual, put the piston stop in and mark up top dead centre, get that verified first, and then we'll work our way from there. Once we've got the timing right, we can have a play with carburetor and stuff. Whoa, that's tight. That's a bigger screwdriver. A minute. Wow, that's so old. We're gonna need a more beefier one. So, you've been in there a while, eh? Don't think we'll be putting them back, or the coach bolt. They will all be removed permanently, and we'll put something a bit more suitable in there. Oh, a bit of old rubber pipe. Yes, it's beautiful, very classy. What's that all about? It's amazing some of the things that ideas that people think. I won't put rubber trim, I'll just put some mini rubber on the edge of the frame there. Oh, what's that all about? Brilliant. Okay, well that's not going back on. We'll get some rubbers fitted on here. So I don't think there's any rubbers under, oh there's something under there. There's some sort of old rubbery stuff there. Has it got rubber? Yeah, it's got some rubber underneath the bodywork anyway. Even though it's quite sort of oldish, but it's probably a bit of this as well, which looks like a bit of car mat. 1960s Ford car mat inside there. Wonderful stuff. So, right, let's get this cowling off. Okay, it seems that there's only 2 screws holding the flywheel cowling on, so that's not good. That's a 6mm, so that's been tapped out. So I would say that none of these threads on his mag housing are any good, because they've been all drilled out or done something. They're either stripped or they've been drilled to 6mm instead of the original 5. So I think that's where it's going to be on this engine. Everything will have been modified, tapped out in some way or another, which is not a good sign. It's not original. So far so good. I think we'll have to go a little bit further than just doing this. We'll inspect quite a lot of the other threads as well, because if this is the way the mag housing is, then I would expect round the other side on the casing there's going to be a lot of stripped threads as well, and exhaust, we'll have a look at that, see how that's mounted, and at least make it a little bit more functional and reliable with decent threads. Oh, it's got a 5mm. Hey! Well, one 5mm and one 6mm. And that's it, that's all that's on it. One 5mm, one 6mm holding it on. Great! We do love it. That's in there, isn't it? Oop. Didn't lose it across the room. That comes that. Nice and clean on the inside. It's been on there a long time. It is a motor plat, I think. Yep. Motor plat ignition. 6 volts. Let's get it up on compression. Ah, yeah. There's a little bit of play. That could be big end. If anybody can hear that, you just lightly, once you've got it on compression, lightly rock the flywheel, and that is a little bit of wear, either in the small end or the big end, and I would say it's probably big end, because it does rattle a little bit. Only dearie me, never mind, it's only a bit of wear. Love it. So it's got some, yeah, flywheel bearing play and some big end or possibly small end play as well. Because that's a definite, it's not piston slap or the piston moving in the bore, that is definitely some bearing movement. Okay, so far so good. Okay, we've got our piston stopping, so we've just marked up the arrow here a little bit better on the flywheel, so it's easier to see. Just lighten that up a bit. So we go all the way around till we hit the piston stop, mark it up, then all the way back round the other way till we hit the piston stop again. And mark it again. See if I can get with the light so I can see exactly where. Yeah, there. So then we'll measure that from point to point, and we've got, so we'll measure that and we've got 43 millimeters. So half of that is 21.5. So we'll go back down to 21.5. 21.5. Okay. We'll mark it there. 21 high. And got another mark. We'll check the opposite direction, so it still lines up 21.5. Okay, so we've got now a new top dead centre mark, because the other one was slightly out. So at least we're working from an accurate top dead centre mark now. Okay, Right, I'm back. We'll mark that up. That is now our new top dead centre mark. So now we're going to work out our timing from that. We're going to be this is absolutely standard, so we're going to run it on 18 degrees, this one. Not the 17, 18. We can get away with that, no problem. So we'll slap our buzzwangle in there. Oh, hopefully it's, and the buzzwangle, no, don't tell me it doesn't fit. What a bummer, it doesn't fit the multiplier. I'm going to have a word with him. Mr. Buzzwangle, you have failed me. What a bummer. And is it magnetic in any way? It's not going to work like that. I'm afraid I'm going to have to use the fattest one and some way of fucking holding it in place. Right. Watch this space. When you're working on Lambrettas, always keep a big fat lump of plasticine. It's always handy. There we go, slap it in. And there we go, we have now a nice fixed piece of kit. How brilliant is that? Right, does the buzzwangle fit? Good enough, I would say. Let's get that out of the way. Petrol pipe, get out of my way, Mr. Petrol pipe. Okay. So, buzzwangle is on. It's now stable with a bit of plasticine holding the buzzwangle in position. Awesome stuff. Has many, many uses. Right, that's the plasticine. Let's turn this baby on then. And we might need some better light. There we go. Let's get the light where we can see. Okay. Oh, hang on, I've got to take the piston stop out. Go on, you silly old fool. Okay. Piston stop is out. So we'll go for, put it on top dead centre. Zero the buzzwangle if we possibly can. Come on, zero you. Oh, you better stay there. Right, we're zero the buzzwangle. It's moved. Damn thing moved. Zero again. Right, it's zeroed. So we're going to back it up 18 degrees. Come on, baby. Oh, too far. There we are, spot on 18 degrees. Right, we're going to have to whip this off because the timing's way out. No wonder he said it nipped up as soon as he took it anywhere, because he's just got this bike, and the first thing he did was pretty well nipped up as soon as he went on anything main road wise. So we know now why, or mostly why. The timing's at about 25 degrees, so. Okay, that's cracked it off. Let's have a look, see. Oh yeah, absolutely bone dry. The pad's not even up against the cam. So that would have closed up the points fairly quick. It looks like somebody has been in, they've put brand new points on. That's odd. Where's the bloody condenser? No condenser. Have they running an external condenser? Maybe. Let's follow the route. That's extremely odd. Where's the condenser? Okay, cables, green wire, green wire down here, onto that one, up here. Ah, found it. Very interesting. The condenser is up in the top of the chassis. I'm going to have to show you this. Okay, as I went inside, brand new points. They didn't bother to lubricate the pad or anything, or make it get in contact with the cam, but they removed the condenser, and I followed it and found it in the top of the chassis here. Now, it's not that easy an access. I don't know why they didn't put it a little bit in a better, easier place to get to. I mean, they could have put it down here on the side. It wouldn't have made no difference, whether they're trying to keep it super dry up there. But, yeah, they've got an external condenser. Where is he? Yeah, he's up there somewhere. Yeah, there he is. So this is getting more interesting by the minute, this Lambretta. An external condenser. Okay, yeah. Obviously, he knew a little bit about Lambrettas. He's got a few ideas. The bike's not bad at all. I mean, he's done a few things that are quite interesting. Although, he put some big washers on the back of the nuts on the stator, and they're just catching on the back of the flywheel. Just only slightly, but it's just there. So we'll do something about them. It's probably that one. He's put big washers on the stator, and they're quite thick, so it's caused the bolts here to rub on the back of the flywheel. A tiny bit, hardly noticeable, but it is there. So just a few things to sort out here. So we'll leave the condenser where it is. That's great. Yeah, external condenser. We'll lubricate the pad. We'll change ignition timing. He's actually marked up the timing in here, because there's a little punch mark in the stator and one in the mag. But then it's like when I've strobed it, and it's like about 24 degrees. So I don't know where. Maybe he was trying to run it at 21 standard, but because the actual timing marks were already out on the mag housing, because it didn't match up with the top dead center. So maybe that's why he was out a bit. But he was firing, I'm sure he's firing about 24 degrees or something. So this needs to be backed off by a million mile. Right. Okay, I can see why he put these big penny washers on the stator, because whoever was the previous owner of it, or one of the previous owners, they've tightened the nuts up so much that it's dished the stator, the sides of the stator here. They must have cranked them right up. I mean, there's no need for it to be that tight. They must have been worried it was going to come loose or something. But what they've done is they've give it more chance of coming loose now, because your bolts are literally going into like a dished affair here. So we're gonna change these bolts, and we'll use some button Allen bolts that have got a wider head on them, so they'll give a bit better spread of load on there, and maybe on a flat surface rather than in that dish there, because the penny washers are just dishing and they're pulling into it anyway. So we will change them. Okay, we've we've moved the state around a bit, well, quite a bit actually, and we're just gonna bend the little metal tab here a little bit, this little flexi tab here, so the pad engages onto the cam a bit better, and we'll just hook it up. So we'll drop a bit of lubrication into it. That'll soak in, and now we've got some lubrication on our cam. So that's one little job done. So we can put this back together, fire it up and strobe it again and see how far out we are now, or how close we are. Right, that's the flywheel back on, but I'm just going to have a look around here. This is a 6mm nut. Okay, it falls in there. That's at it. Let's go down here. It falls in that one, so that's at it. So that one's still got thread 6mm. So we can see that, like, it's not only been tapped at a 6mm, but they've already stripped the 6mm threads on it. So it's either, this is either going to be welded up or a new mag housing, and I'd go for a new mag housing, to be honest. Get a uni mag, and that'll do. So it's such a shame that it's just people that just don't know what they're doing. When you don't know what you're doing, you do more damage than good. I mean, they've stripped all the threads, they just keep tapping them out bigger and tapping them out bigger. They don't know about using helicoils or re-weld them up and re-tap them properly. Yeah, it's typical 40-year-old Lambretta. Never mind. Okay, we've had the timing done now. It's now running on 18 degrees from the 25 or whatever it was running before. So it should be running a little cooler now, and hopefully not nipping up on him. But we haven't done anything, we haven't checked the barrel for high spots or anything. It's simply got compression. I've spoke to him and he doesn't want to go any further. So we're just gonna get this running as best we can as it is, and then in the future it'll be an engine rebuild at some point. Yeah, the more and more we look, the more things we find that's not right. The engine mounts have been put in the wrong position, just silly things like that. It's got a really homemade lock washer on the rear hub. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a zoom in on there. It looks like it's made out of brass, but there's no serrated teeth to locate on the nut. It's just a big brass washer with 3 holes put in it. So I'm going to have to take that off. It's just not safe. I've got to replace that and put a proper lock washer on. Obviously, he thought, oh, I'll make a lock washer for it, but he's just simply drilled a hole in the middle, big enough to go over the thread. It's not locking anything, really. Crazy. It's just relying on the head of the bolt to stop the nut from turning. So yeah, homemade. What can I say? This thing is full of strange and wonderful things. Okie dokie, right. Have a look at this baby. Will it focus? Let me see. Okay, it's like, oh there, you got a bit of focus there. Right, you can see it's just a piece of flat brass and it's all crushed. This is a death trap. that nut would have just came straight off, because it's not even, when I took it off, it wasn't torqued up anywhere near the correct pressure. I could have took it off with my fingers nearly. It was pathetic. It's a death trap. Hello. My God. Okay, we're gonna bang this back up now, and put in a proper bolt, proper lock one on there. Right. Let's just whack it up with the air gun first. Right. Final one. Okay, that will do nicely. Just double check. Right, we'll just check the points gap. Look. And it's a bit tight. So we're just going to adjust it a little bit. It's very sensitive. Shit, my camera's sensitive to my LED light. It starts strobing. Look at that. Whee! That's cool. Okay. Right, I'm probably just going to tell you again now, because my LED light started to make all sorts of strobing. It started to strobe on the camera. So what we've done, we've set the points at 0.4 of a millimetre. So we'll fire it up again now and make sure it runs nicely before we put the covers on. Always sensible to do. Okay, I've really had a lot of fun working on this bike, finding all sorts of strange things with it. It's surprising what you can find, the oddest problems and faults on Lambrettas that you don't suspect, like the throttle cable arcing onto the on the engine mount. So, look, it's always buyer beware. If you buy a Lambretta, right, you really need to bear in mind that it's been owned by somebody else, and what they've done before you, you just don't know. They can probably think that everything they've done is perfectly fine and normal, and the bike is great. But when somebody else has a look at it, he just finds out there's loads of things wrong. So, you know, when you're buying a second-hand Lambretta, don't take it for granted that the engine is good. No matter how it sounds, it's probably you don't know how much mileage it's got, you don't know how it's been treated, whether they've always put oil in it, you've got simply no idea. Be really wary of buying tuned engines because they've probably been thrashed. So if I'm buying a second-hand Lambretta, I always buy one in with the thought that I'm just going to rebuild the engine anyway. So I've been into Lambretta since I was 16. I had my first one in 1980. GP 150. It was a pile of rubbish. And all my mechanics were absolute rubbish because I didn't know anything. But I've since done 30 years, 35 years more experience, or is it 40? I'd have to calculate it. 82, ooh, blah, 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 blah. 41 years. Okay, right, we got a little bit further. I thought I might as well have a go at repairing some of his threads. We've managed to get some helicoils in. We've repaired that one. We've repaired this one as well. So it's got an helicoil in there. And one on the back here. So now he's got pretty well all back to 5 mil to 5 mil. So the 3 damaged ones that was down here are all been fixed. Okay, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use some 5 mil Allen bolts with a penny washer on, but they're not oversized ones, they're just small ones. but they do nicely spread the load across the cowling and help to stop it from coming loose. So that's one. Two. Okay, when you're fitting cowlings, you put all the bolts in first loose. So the cowling's still loose, but all the bolts are actually in. You don't put one in and tighten it up, otherwise you'll never get the other bolts in. So you get them all in loose first and then go around them. So we're kind of there, almost. As I suspected with that one, people are just too lazy to take the carb off to put it on. So that one's survived. Okay, we've been on a little quick test drive. We didn't have to go far to see how bad the carburation was. So the main jet's too big for starters. It just doesn't rev. And it's got quite a bit of splutter in the mid-range as well. So we'll try to clear that as well at the same time, because we're only going to come down a little bit on the main jet. It's not massively big. So we're going to whip the carb off and have a look. Okay, what we've got is a SH1/20 Del Auto, but made in Bilbao. So this is made up in the north of Spain. It's not made in Italy. It's a Spanish carburetor. Right, I lost space on my memory card, so I've just had to delete a few things and come back to this. I don't know what was on there. We've been through this box of jets, and we managed to find a few out of here, respectively the right sizes. So we found a 100 and a 104 out of that box, but then I've been through all these ones as well, and we've managed to come up with a 105, which we've now fitted in the carburetor. So we've got a 105 in the carb, but the mid-range splitter, what I'm going to do is we're going to modify the slide slightly. So we'll zoom in a little bit. Hang on. Come on, baby. Ah. So if you look at the slide, you've got a small cutaway here on the carburetor. And that cutaway on this carb is, let me have a look, see. .23. So we're going to put a slightly bigger cutaway in the slide. Now that's going to help with smoothing out the transition a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to reprofile this part here. If you look, we're going to reprofile that. It is now 1.2 something, yeah, 1.23. It's difficult to measure exactly. So we're going to bring it up to 1.5. So we're going to change the profile on this from 1.2 to 1.5 and give us a little bit more cutaway on the slide, and that might help clear the transition on the carburation a bit, so it goes through the rev range smoother and you get rid of that splutter. So we're going to reprofile that. That will go in there and we will attack it with the Dremel. How's that? Right. Right, we've got a little very small tool in the Dremel which we're going to use to reprofile this. So you don't want to touch the back edge, otherwise you're going to have an erratic, a tick over that you can't set. So okay, that's it reprofiled. We'll have a little, can we zoom any further? Is that going to focus? Yep, you can see what we've done there. We've profiled this here. Now, we'll just take a measurement of it, of where we are. And we're now on 2.1. I wanted 1.5, but it's 2.1. So I went a little bit further than I expected. It's hardly took anything off, but it's so minute. It's still smaller than the 22mm cutaway, but we'll have to see. We'll have to check it. If we've gone too far, we can richen up on the air screw, but I don't think we will. I think it'll be fine. So let's see how this runs. I've got plenty more of these slides anyway, so we can always get another one if this has gone too far. Right, we're back at the bike again. So we've ended up with the cutaway on the slide going from a 1.2 to 2.2. Fingers crossed. It's all about cut and pray. Same as expansion chambers. Chop it up, see what you get. Or you can always do maths. Right, so we're going to put this back together now. test drive, it was a phenomenal success. It runs super smooth, silky smooth even. I'm quite impressed. Well done me. Yep, the cutaway on the slide seems to have cleared up all the splutter down the mid-range. The main jet seems to be about right, apart from a plug chop that we'll have to do. That'll be later, but I think it's pretty well there. It pulled up the hill quite nicely at full throttle, not backing off at all, so I think it's pretty well there. Just a good, get it nice and hot and a good plug chop on it, and we'll see where it stands on plug colour. But yeah, that's the Jet 200. Very, very good. Few issues. Did notice a few problems on it that it can be sorted out later, but at least the bike runs smoothly now. I'm sure everybody's going to be happy about that. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe and share all my videos to your friends. Oh, and by the way, I do need a dyno and not lots of coffee. So if you want to donate anything to my dyno, there's a link down below. Thanks a lot. See you later.